Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, last session we learned about arrays. So, we discussed about arrays. What is the purpose of arrays? What is the purpose of arrays? Arrays are used for reducing overhead and complexity. What is overhead? Overhead means overhead is an memory related issue where memory is available but you cannot utilize. That is overhead. So arrays can handle this. How yesterday I explained, and we discussed about what is array. We discussed about declaring array, and we discussed about assigning memory for array. Okay, these three things we learned. So what is array? How to declare array? How to assign memory for array? These are the points. Next important, now today we will see how we can store data into array. Storing data into array. How data is stored in array? Actually, so data is stored into array with reference of it is stored into array. So with reference of what is the reference is with reference of property. Data is stored in array with reference of property. Actually, property is a string type that maps to index number in memory. Property is a string type that maps to index number in memory. That is actually storing. That means, for example, we declared var values is an array. Yesterday we discussed 2 points. We can use meta character or we can use array constructor. Now in that, how do we store values? You can directly initialize value like 10, true, and a like this. If you initialize these values, actually where these are present, values of 0. What is there? 10. And values of 1. In that what is present? True. And values of 2. In that what is present? A. Like this. But actually by seeing this, what people think, these are index number. But they are not index number actually. They are called property. 0, 1, 2 or property. So that means, for example, if you write values of 0, that is also valid. If you write values of 0, that is also valid. Both are valid. Actually, by default, it is what type? String. Even you write as a number, it will be used as a string. Every property is what type? String type. And into that you can store anything. So you can store data into any array by using the property names. Actually, property name looks like index. It looks like index, but property name is string. It is the string type. I will show you here. The point is, generally what happens, suppose, so we need this one, and here these are the properties. Here we have the properties. Actually, we have the option like, suppose we are having values. So this is values we are having. Generally, memory for values is allocated with index 0 and 1 and 2 and 3. Like this index is defined. But actually, every index have 1, 0, that is a string type. 1, that is string type. And we have like 2, that is string type. And we have like 3, these are string types. That means actually people think that they are dealing with this, but generally they are dealing with this because they have the same names. But in reality, every array value is stored with reference of property. That property maps to index. The property name and index name looks same. The property and index name looks same. That's the reason many times people think that they are index, but they are not index, they are actually property. For example, see now, suppose we will write a simple logic to understand what is in the background. We will write a simple logic to understand what is in the background. Here, I am writing like this. So, var values is an array. In that you see values of 0 is 10. Values of 1, I am writing as string. Here we have some John. Values of 2, again this is Boolean. Like this we are writing. So here I written 0 as number, but it is a string only. All are string type only. Let's try that. I will show simple logic for var property in values. This logic is used to read all properties. If you want to read all properties, then I will print that here. Means in the values, how many properties are there, it will read. I will print the property document.write. Document.write. We will print the property. We are giving the property. And we'll put a BR. And you can see these are the properties and they look like this. All the properties actually look like this. These are all properties look like this. 0, 1, 2. And let's do one thing. I will write beside them in the square brace dynamic expression type of property. That means we want to know what is its data type. Data type of property, all are string. That means even you return 0 as number, it is treated as a string. All are string. Okay, let's access the values. How to access the value is values of property. Values of property means values of 0, values of 1, values of 2. Values of property, these are all the values. What are those value type? I will write again here. So type of values of property. That means we are knowing the type of those values. You see, it is number, string, boolean. But what is property type? Property type is always string. Value can be anything. It can be number or a string or boolean. Generally, people think 0, 1, 2 are numbers. Actually, they are not numbers, they are string. So they will have same name as index number. That is the reason it's okay if you call them as index. But actually they are not index, they are properties. Properties always are string type. So if you want to access them, this simple logic I will give you here. This is how we store. If you want to access them, we can use that reference. That means suppose you can see, if I want to access John, I will write document.write values of 1. That means it is written as string, but you are writing as a number. It's okay. It will treat default as string only. Then you can see that it is going to print that and display. Suppose 0 is written as number, I written as string. Then it is okay. It returns the 10. That means even you write a number, it is what type? String type. So that is the basic point. So whenever you are dealing with arrays, first point, the values are stored in an array with reference of what? Value stored in array with reference of property or with reference of what? Index number. But in other technologies, people call it as index, but we better say as property. It's okay. Even you call it as index number, it's okay because it is same name, index name, but technically it is a property, right? That is the basic of this. So how to create array, how to allocate memory, how to store data into array. Another point is you can store any kind of data. You can store any type of data in array. You can store any type of data in array. Any type. It is number, string, boolean. It can be again array or it can be function, as I told you. Suppose you see here, you can store any type of data in array. Suppose we are creating here var, we are creating values, and in these values we are having number, we are having string, we are having again array inside array, and this is a string Hyderabad, some Delhi, like this. After that we can have some true boolean values like this. You can even have a function. In that function I'm writing document.write. So this is hello from array. Like this we define. This is array. Now you can store anything in array. Now tell me how to access Delhi. How to access Delhi? So how do we access Delhi? Values. At which index? At 0, 1. At 1, TV. At 2, there is arena. How to access 2? So values of 2. At 2 index memory, what is present? Array. Array is present. Then array is written in square brace. In that array, what is the reference? What is the index of Delhi? 1. That's how we access. That means it is going to access that and display here. You can have any array in array, anything. But just you need to know what is there at that index. For example, I will put a BR, line break. I want to access this function. What is that function? Where that function is present? At 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. At 4, there is a function. We have to just call that function. So, values of 4. There is a function. That function can be called with a parenthesis. We can call that function as a parenthesis. Actually, that is the memory. In that memory, there is a function. And function is accessed. Is that function having any name? There is no name. Its memory is 4. Now you can see the function executes here and display. So you can store any kind of data in array. And we can access from array. Just you need to know its index numbers, right? This is example. I will give an example here. This is an example for that. It can be number, it can be string, it can be array. Later we will learn objects also. Later we will get. As of now, we can have an array inside array. You can even have a function inside array, right? So actually, you see here, this is the memory. In that memory, there is a function. We invoke that function immediately after the memory. The function is invoked immediately after the memory. This mechanism is called as, we call it as IIFE. We call it as IIFE pattern. IIFE pattern is actually immediately what? Immediately invoked function expression. That is called IIFE pattern. Immediately invoked function expression. These days in many interviews, they are asking this. What is IIFE? Later in functions concept, you will learn. Immediately invoked function expression. It means a function is defined with a name, then how to access it. If a function is not defined with a name, how we can access it? Immediately after the memory. Immediately after the memory, you can access. That is what is called as IIFE. Later in functions concept, I will tell you. More detail we will see in the function concept. That is the basic, right? This is the important concept of function expressions, right? This is generally the point how it works. So one example we will see how it is going to use. So storing data is okay. And reading data is okay. But for reading, there are so many techniques that you have to learn, right? For that, we have to learn about array methods for reading. So for reading, array provides a lot of methods. What are those methods is? One is, so method and description I will give. For reading elements from array, it provides various methods. What are the methods is, one is we have toString. Actually, it returns all array elements separated with a comma. It returns all array elements separated with comma. It returns all the elements separated with comma. That is toString. We have another join. So it returns all elements. It returns all elements from array separated with the custom delimiter. Separated with custom delimiter means our own separator. Custom delimiter means our own separator. We can use our own separator. So we have toString, we have join, we have map. So it returns all array elements using an implicit iterator. Using an implicit iterator. We call it as an implicit iterator. That is what actually map. What it can do is iterator can dynamically create elements. Iterator can dynamically create elements and add to page. That is the advantage. I will show you this practically, how to do that. So we have a string, toString, we have join, we have map, we have for each. Actually, it returns all array elements and their index. That is what actually for each. So we have an option like find. So it returns the first occurrence element that matches the given condition. The given condition. There is filter. So it returns all elements that match the given condition. That is called filter actually. So these are all the techniques. We have slice. So it returns elements between specified index. This already we know in string. While working with string, we already learned that. We already know this concept. That is specified index, right? So we have all these array functions. Let's see how to use them. Presenting them is another concept. How to present also we will see initially. First, we will see how these we can read them, how to read these options. Let's. So reading them and returning these options. Let's see. First, we will see all these one by one. Okay, let's open that. Suppose we are having var categories is equal to some electronics, some footwear like some fashion, something like this we are having. Now we want to read all this. So I will use document.write. Here, let's say toString. ToString means how it returns. We have to use array name categories dot toString. This toString is going to return all separated with comma. It separates all array elements with comma. Okay. Next we have another one we are having join. Join. Join is actually, so we are using categories dot join. Categories dot join. And this join is going to use our own separator. That means we just put here our own separator. We can put any symbol or anything, and it is going to display that. We have a custom separator. Actually, we are having like map. Map is actually, suppose we are using map separately. I will show here because we don't need this. I will use another one, slice. Slice is for from specific index to specific index. We have categories dot slice, slice from 1 to 2. That means it will return only the second one. That means from that index it will read and it will display. So we have toString, we have join, and we have slice. Let's see how others work. Right, first I will copy up to this. This is one example. Now, these are the example 1 point. This is related to toString, join, and slice. Now here, another option is how these map work. So this is array. Array is categories dot map. Categories dot map. Map uses a function inside. So inside map, we have to write a function. What this function will do is it will read every category, every item. That means this function is going to read every item. Item is a reference, item, any name you can give. Suppose it reads every category. Every category from categories. That means what it will do, it is an iterator. Iterator means map will read the first one and it will store in this reference. After that, map will read the second one. It will store that in this reference. Like that, it is going to read all of them one by one. Now, what it should do is every item, your wish. I want to print document dot write. I want to print as li. Li is list item. What we have to print here, we will print category. That means the category is printed as a list item. The category is printed as a list item. So every category is as a list item. You can print as heading, as paragraph, as a div, as a span, anything. So map is more faster than all techniques. In the modern JavaScript, majority of situation, reading elements from array, we use map. Right? Because it is the fastest and it is asynchronous way. It is easy to read. Okay, this is map. I will copy this. This is example for map. This is for map. Another option is without this map, you can also use categories dot for each. For each also uses a function. What this function will do is, this function will return two things. What this function is going to return is, it will return the value and it is going to return the value and index number. That means it will return category and comma, it will return index I. That means at which index that category is present. What is advantage of collecting the index? You can easily delete, update those details if you get the index. Later I will show you how to use deleting and all. Initially, document dot write we are printing here, we are printing a list item. And in the list item, we are printing here the category. And if you want, you can print the index I. That means it is going to print every category and its index number. It will come like this. We can read both index number and the values. So map cannot get index number. Map will get only values. For each can get index number, right? Index number is good for updating, deleting of elements. So this is another. So for each, this is for each. You have another option. We have find and filter. Find and filter are good if there is reasonable data. If there is no reasonable data, then they are not great, right? I will later show you with complex data. As of now, I am writing sales is equal to, that is 35,000, 57,000, 13,000. And so like this, we have some values, 64,000. I want all the sales greater than 50,000. All the sales greater than 50,000. I want to print all the sales greater than 50,000. So what we will do is where result is equal to sales dot, we have a find method. Find will return only the first occurrence that is matching your condition. That means it will return only one. Find, it uses a callback function. And what this function is, this function will take every value and it will return only the value which is greater than some 50,000. Like this we write. What does that means? Thus, it will find will read one by one. It will read the first one. That means find is going to read this first one and it will store here. And after that, it will verify this condition. If value is greater than 50,000, then it will store that in this result. If not, it will not store. Will first value store? No. Then it will go to second value. Is second value matching? Yes. After storing, it will stop. It will not go to the next. Means it find will not show all. It will show only the first occurrence. Then document dot write result. What result will do? Result is going to display only one. So it is going to find and return only one which is matching the condition. That you can do by using what? Find. So I will copy this. That is actually the concept of find. This is example of find. Same thing filter also will do. But what is the point? Just remove find and set filter. This filter is going to display all that matches the condition. And here you can see that filter is going to show all. That means whatever the value matching with that condition, it will get and display. This is reading by using filter. So we can use find and we can use filter. Actually, we can read by using other techniques, like you can also use for off. For off can read all values from collection. Collection is what? Array. From collection, you can read values using for off. Just what we have to do is for var item of collection. One by one, it can read every item. So for off can read all values. From a collection, if you want to read all values, you can use for off also. You can see now. Here, I want to read all the sales. Then we can use for var item of what is the collection sales. Then document dot write item br. Then you can see every item will be printed here. That is for off. Suppose if I use for in, it will return all properties. All properties will come. You can read all values. You can read all properties. If you want both, only by using for in, it is returning all property. Here we can just add like this. That means I am writing here item. That means it is reading all the property. After that, colon. I will put here another expression, sales of item. Sales of item is nothing but sales of 0, sales of 1. That means it is going to return all its values also. It can read the properties as well as values. Actually, we can use for each also. For each also returns the index number and value. So here, if you want separate, you have to do that. So you are using for off. Then only the values will come. Only the values are going to come. It will display only values, right? This is an example. This is an example of this. Another example is for in. Can read all properties from collection. For off can read all values. For in can read all properties. So for var property in collection. Collection is what? Sales. Like this you can define. Example is this one. So we will give item and we will give sales of item. We can define that. So that is item. Also, it is sales of item. Off I am using. I have to use what? In. It is going to read all the values. So this is one example. Let's copy that. This is for in. So there are so many methods of reading data from an array. Later you will learn about loops also. Loops we will see later how to use the loops. Actually loop means you have in, you have off, you can have while, do while, for, all these are there, right? Later we will learn about them. So that is one concept. Now the point is, so many techniques you learned for reading. So how to present them dynamically as elements? That is the challenging one. That means presenting dynamically as elements means I want to read all array elements and I want to display in a drop down. How? I want to display as checkbox. I want to display in a table. Dynamically, we need to create that. So how it is possible to do that? How we can manage that? We will see that. That is actually dynamically adding elements to page. How you can dynamically add elements to page? What is the technique of dynamically adding elements into the page? Dynamically adding elements into the page, how we can do that? For that, we need to follow few steps. First thing, so create a new element and store in memory reference. Create a new element and store in memory reference like var li is equal to document dot create element li. That is list item. Suppose you want to create a image, document dot create element, that is img. We can access that img with which reference? Pick. Suppose you want to create a drop down, that means list is document dot create element select. You can create any element like this, any HTML element. That means so a div or a span. So div or a span or anything you can define. That means any HTML element can be created by using a function called document.createElement. After doing that document.createElement, element is created, but for that element we need some attributes, width, height, text. Those attributes we need to define. Second, set attributes for elements. How do we set attributes? Suppose we are having pic is an image, pic.src. What is the image? We have pic.width. What is the width? We have pic.alt. What is the alternate text? You know all of them. Similarly, suppose if it is a drop down, then in a drop down, can you display any text directly? No. In a drop down, if I want to display text, I have to create an option again. We have to create an option. Through option, we need to define. That I will show you. Okay, element is created. Element related attributes are defined. Now add this element to page. So after creating element, after defining attributes, add element into page or into any container. How to do that? We have to access the container.append child. Suppose it is body.append child. Append child is the method. We need to add the pic. Suppose if it is a div have an append child. Into the div we need to add a pic. Suppose if it is an ordered list, into ordered list append child, we need to add the list item. Like this we need to do. Right? Append child is a method. Now how to access body, how to access div, you know. To access body div, document.querySelector, document.getElement by ID. You can access body, you can access div, ordered list, anything, and you can add items into this. So there are three phases. What are those three phases? There are three phases. What are those three phases? Creating element, adding attributes for the element, and we have to append the element into the page. Create, define properties, and append. Let's see how they work. For example, now suppose I will create a page. In this, there is a div. In that div, I want a picture. In this div, I want a picture. So that means dynamically, I want a picture inside it. Then when you want a picture at the time of loading body, so body have onload. Onload is what? Body load. We are writing a script. What is the function? Body load. On body load, we have to create one image. So var pic is equal to document.createElement, which element? Image. So pic.src is dot dot slash public slash images slash asp.jpg something. After that, pic dot width is equal to some 200. So pic dot height. So height is equal to 200. So now if you want, you can apply border. Pic dot what? Border is 1 or 2. Now add this pic into the div. How to access the div? It is not having any ID. So it's okay. Document dot query selector div. Into the div, what it is? Append child. Which one? Pic. And you can see that pic is added into it with all the properties. So without using img tag inside the page, we are creating an image. We are creating an image and adding that image. That's what we can do. This is dynamically creating. Now see the concept here. This is interesting now. What we want is, we will create here var ads. Ads is an array. In this array, what we have in the ads array, we are having string that is dot dot slash public slash images slash a1.jpg. That means the first value is a path. Similarly, like this, I will add some strings. This is 2.jpg. This is 3.jpg. So this is 4.jpg. So we have 4 elements. We have 4 elements in array. All 4 elements are paths. Now what we want to do is, for every element in array, we want to create a photo image. Then how to read all these ads one by one? We can use toString, we can use map, we can use for each. So only reading them we need to do. Then what we will do is ads.map. Map uses a callback function. In that, it will read every ad, right? Every ad. You can give any name. Okay. Now for every ad, which element we have to create? For every element, we have to create an image. So var pic is equal to document dot create element. Which element? Image. And what will be the pic src? Pic src is the ad. Ad is nothing but, now what is the point here is, what is that ad? The point is, this first value is sent into this location. This will be sent into this location. That pic source is a1.jpg. Similarly, so pic have width and this is 100, and pic have height. This is also 100. Okay. Now every pic have style, and every pic is having margin as some 10 pixel. Because it is a style, we need to write 10 pixel, right? If it is an ordinary HTML, then number is enough, right? Okay. Now this pic must be added into the div. That means now remember how many pics will be created. Map will create pic for every path that it is having, and add this into document dot query selector div. Div dot append child. Into that add the pic. That means it will read all the pics and it will add. That means by using a simple iteration, we are reading all the elements and we are displaying. This is actually accessing the data and displaying. Suppose I am just using these images here. There can be different thing we can create dynamically. For example, see, I will copy this one. This is just one example. Okay, let's take another one here. Suppose we are creating, we are creating var categories. Categories is equal to all. So we have categories electronics, we have categories footwear, so, and we have categories fashion. Now we want to read all the categories, put them in an ordered list, right? How to read all the categories on body load, categories dot what map. We need to read every category. Map uses a callback function. It will read every category. Now every category must be presented in ordered list. Can you directly present any text in ordered list? No. In order to present anything in ordered list, it must be a list item. So for every category, we have to create li document dot create element. Which element? List item li. What should be li? Inner HTML, because li contains inner HTML. It's a container, just like div span. Inner HTML, it should be category name. After that, this li must be added to ordered list. Document dot what? Query selector ol dot what? Append child. Which one? li. Then you can see all are added like this. Suppose I am having here a drop down. I am having a select, okay? And I want all these categories in drop down. Then tell me, in the same map, this time, for every item, for every category, we need to create an option. Document dot create element. Which element? Option element. Now in HTML, I told you option contains how many attributes? In HTML, option contains how many attributes? What are the attributes of option in HTML? Remember, I told you that every option contains text, value, disabled, selected. Remember? So disabled means that option cannot be selected. Selected means that option is by default selected. Value, what is difference between value and text? Value is what you want to submit. Text is what you want to show. I told you in the options that what you show is not the same to submit. Sometimes you can show one value, you can submit another value. Right? So for every option, we need to define text. Text should be category. Similarly, every option value also category. Category is the value. These two are enough. Next, what we will do? Add this into document dot query selector. Which one? Select. Select dot append child. Which one? Option. You can see now a drop down is also ready. Now this time drop down is not having a standard list, because this list is going to automatically update for every element. That means whenever array is changing, then automatically this will be changing. Let's see here. Suppose I go into the collection. In the collection, in this, I'm adding kids fashion, something like this, kids fashion. And here I define some woman fashion like this. And you can see that is updated here. That means whenever you add anything from array, remove anything from array, it will be updated. Now tell me how to create a checkbox for every item. For list item, document dot create element li. For checkbox, generally how checkbox is created in HTML. Checkbox is created in HTML. Input type is a checkbox. Now tell me what should be document dot create element. Checkbox is not element. Checkbox is attribute. Element is input. Element is input. So what you have to do is you have to create input, and this input can become a checkbox. How? Input dot type is equal to what? Checkbox. That's how we do. Directly, it is not create element checkbox because there is no checkbox element directly. Actually, that element is input element. Its type is checkbox. That means an input element becomes a checkbox using type. It becomes a password. It becomes an email depending on the type. So how do we create a checkbox list? Suppose this is a point, and there are several techniques actually. Suppose what I want to do is, let's say UL, unordered list. In that unordered list, every item must be displayed as a checkbox. Then see here, what we need to do is, first same map is used here. First, we have to create where we have to create a li, but already li is there. You cannot use. So I will use another unordered list li, right? Document dot create element. Which element it is? Li, list item. Okay, in this list item, I want to add a checkbox, but you know checkbox don't have text. Checkbox related text is displayed beside label. Input
Recording
type
in
is
progress.
checkbox. After that, label dot inner HTML is equal to, inside label we will display label. Beside what we will display the item name. That means what is that category? The category is displayed for label. Now this input must be added into unordered list item. After that, input label must be added, because order is also important. First you add label, then after that you add, then checkbox will be right side. How to do first? Unordered list item dot append child. Into that, what we need to add first? Into unordered list item, we need to first add input. Okay. After adding input, again unordered list item append child, we need to add a label. That means we need to add input and we need to add label. After adding input and label, unordered list item is there. Now what? Now this unordered list must be added to that document dot query selector. Which one? UL. UL dot what? Append child. Which one? Unordered list, list item. Then you can see all checkboxes will come. That means you are creating a checkboxes with labels beside them. Right? Because only checkbox is not enough. Suppose you don't append label, then only checkboxes will come. You need a label. Label is important that contains that information and display. That is how we can dynamically create. For example, now suppose tell me how to create a button. For every element, I need to create a button. Same thing. How to create a link. Anchor. We have to create an anchor element. I will show you one more here. Let's say table. Table have order 1. Table have width as some 200. Table we have TR, TH. I given categories. Okay, that is the table header we are having. Now what we want to do is under that table header, we have table body. We want to add all categories. In order to add categories, so directly we cannot add anything here. So first there must be row. In row also we cannot add directly, because in row there must be cell. That means how many elements we have to create? 2 elements we have to create. What is that one element? TD. TR, first one. First one is document dot create element. Which one? TR. After that TD. Document dot create element. Create element TD. And TD dot inner HTML. Inside that we want to display the category name. And append this TD into TR. TR dot append child TD. Cell is added to row. Then add this row into table body. Document dot what? Query selector. What it is? T body. T body into that append child. Which one? TR row. And you can see a table is created. But these are very, very simple things, because currently we just know data string. Later array will come with complex data, username, password, details, so many. Now everything we need to display in multiple rows and columns. It will take risk, means so much complexity. But that we will see when we are dealing with some complex data, So this is the way of adding. Okay. Now I will copy this logic here. And this is just to make you understand how we can dynamically configure. Right? Means reading elements from an array and presenting them is the challenging work. Okay. Next important is, this is all reading. How we can add elements into array. How we can remove elements from array. We will see that. Adding elements into array. For that, what are the methods we are having? One is we have push. It adds new items. It adds new items as last item. New items means it is one item or many. One or many. Similarly, unshift. It adds new items as first item. We have splice. It adds new items at specific position, at specified position. We have push, we have unshift, and we have splice. So we are having push and we have unshift and we are having splice. Actually, so array dot push and we just add item 1, we just add item 2, like this we can do. Similarly, array dot unshift, also same, item 1, item 2, like this we can do. Array dot splice, actually splice, it asks index number. And from that index number, delete count. After delete count, we can add item 1 and item 2 like this. Item 2 like this we can define. So that is how we can configure, right? Yes. So how this works, let's see. That means array dot push, unshift, and splice. So see, let's clean up all these things. Let's erase. Suppose I have only electronics and fashion, footwear. Okay, electronics and footwear, only these are present. All electronics, footwear, or I will remove this all also so that you can easily understand. Fine. This is array, only electronics, footwear. So I want to add a new item. Then categories dot push. I will add all. That means it is going to add as last item. But I want to add as first item. Here also it is there, right? I want to add as first item. Then instead of push, what we have to do? Unshift. Unshift means it is added as first item. Right? If you want to add as last item, then push. So first item, unshift. Suppose you want to add, suppose fashion in between electronics and footwear. After electronics, I want to add fashion. Then categories dot splice at one index. But at one index already there is footwear. Now what you want to do with that footwear? Actually delete count 0. If I say 1, it will delete that one. It will delete one item after one index and it will add your new items. If I say 2, it will delete 2 items. I don't want to delete anybody. Then 0. And item. What is the item? Some fashion. Now you can see fashion is added. Fashion is added here at one place, because already after electronics means we will put at 2 place. After electronics it will be added, because already at 1 we have all added, right? You can add at any position. Suppose, remember, if I remove this 1, then what will happen? Footwear will be removed and fashion will be added in that place. Without removing, we have to do that. Then we have to set it to 0. So here important is note is delete count in splice. In splice must be always 0. Always 0. So in order to add without deleting, if you want to add without deleting, then this is the option. delete count we need to configure. So this is push, unshift, another one splice. So example is this one. Same previous concept, but this is the example I will give here. That's the example. The categories, and in that shift and all these options are available. That is one point. This is adding elements into array. Next option is removing elements from array. Removing elements from array. For that, what are the methods we are having? Removing elements from array, the methods that we have pop. So it removes the last item. Pop is going to remove the last item. Next, we have another one. We have shift. So it removes the first item. We have another one. What is it? Splice. Splice is used for both adding and removing. It removes the specified item. You can remove the last item, first item, and specified item. By using splice, we can do. So same technique we will follow here, right? Removing last find, right? This is option. Suppose we are having, let's add some options there. So I'm having all and comma. Yeah. I am having some fashion. Okay. We have these options there. Suppose I want to remove this first one. Then what we do? Categories dot what? Shift. Shift means first one will be removed. I want to remove the last one. Then what we have to do? So we have to use categories dot what? Pop. Pop will remove the last one. If I want to remove the specific one, suppose you see here, I am not having, I want to remove footwear. Then how do we remove footwear? Categories dot splice. From which index? 2. How many to remove? 1. Actually, in adding, after delete count, we add new items. If you don't add new items, it will delete only. That means it will remove that and it will display. Footwear is removed. That means it will remove that specific item and it will display that specific item here. So that is what actually the options. We have pop, we have shift, and we have splice. Syntax, we have array dot pop and we have array dot shift and we have array dot splice. So here we have index number and we have delete count. That is how we can manage. So array dot pop, array dot shift, array dot splice, and all this. So adding elements, removing elements from array. Next important in the array manipulation, sorting array elements. Sorting array elements. Sorting array elements, you can arrange in ascending, descending order. For that, we have two options. Sort is the method. It arranges elements in ascending order. And we have reverse. Reverse is it arranges elements in reverse order, not descending order. Reverse order is different. Reverse order means from bottom to top, not descending order. That means what is the last item, it will be first. So that order it will display, but it is not descending order. So if you want descending order, then you have to create first sort. After that, immediately on that, you have to apply reverse. Right. For example, here, suppose we are having some option like, suppose we are having a script. So where values is equal to, it's an array in that D, A, so C and B. This is the values. Document dot, or I will simply say, so values dot map and a function. So value, every value I want to print. Document dot write, I want to print an item, that is value, and BR. And every value is printed like this. It is printing all the values D, A, C, B. So before printing, we will use values dot sort. Then it is going to display all in ascending order. We want, so value dot reverse. Reverse is not descending order. It is B, C, A, D. That is actually B, C, A, D. Then if I want in descending order, first values dot sort, after that reverse. Then it will display first ascending, then descending, means DCBA. That means directly if you use reverse, it is backside. You first apply sort, on that apply reverse, then it will be descending, because sort will be ascending, reverse of ascending is descending. That is how we need to sort. Sorting elements can be done by using this, right? Adding elements, removing elements, sorting the elements. These all we must able to dynamically control. These all we must able to dynamically control. Dynamically control means with a button, how you will do that. Session I showed you to with a button. Will
Recording in
relation
progress.
is equal to style sheet. Style sheet and link href is from node modules, bootstrap icons, bootstrap icons, font icons.cs. Suppose I am giving a button here. So this is span class bi sort alpha down. And we have another button sort alpha up. That is the option now. So you see, this is the option we are having. Now below that, we want to display the list. So that means we will write a script. In the script, so we have where cities is, suppose Delhi. So some Bangalore, right? Some Chennai, like this. So we have some cities, right? These are some cities we have. And we will write a function, load cities. This load cities should all load all cities in the unordered list. So then we have to use cities.map function. We have to read every city and var li document dot create element, which element? Li, and li dot inner HTML, we need to display the city. Next. So this city must be added to unordered list. Document dot query selector unordered list dot append child. Which one? Li, list item. Okay. Now when this load city should work. So first body on load. On load is body load. On body load, we will write a function body load. On body load, load cities. Then you can see all the cities are loaded here. Now when I click this button, it should be in ascending order, A, B, C, D, ascending order. That means this button on click, so sort ASC. This button on click, sort what? DSC. Now we will write a function here. What is that function? Sort ASC. What it should do? Cities dot sort. After that, load cities. That's it. What another function sort descending should do is cities dot sort. After that, cities dot reverse. After that, load cities. It should load. Now you can see that I click on this button, it will be repeating. Instead of repeating, in the load cities, what we do is, before adding into anything into unordered list, first clean up that unordered list. Then what we will do is document.query selector unordered list dot inner HTML is empty. So then you see now I click on Delhi. This is Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Goa, Hyderabad, Mumbai. I click on this sort, then it will be descending order. It is the descending and this is the ascending order. We can change that using these buttons. So dynamically doing these things. Right now, suppose if you want to add item, we can add item dynamically. So we can add items dynamically. For example, how we can add item dynamically? Suppose we keep a div. In this, we define here input type is equal to text. ID as txt city. And we will put a button add. Now what should happen is they can enter that. So let's put break. Okay. And you can see that. Let's keep these buttons inside this unordered list. That's also fine. Oh, it is not there. Unordered list we removed. List style we removed. Okay, fine. Some gap we will give here. Now user can enter any city name. And after entering the city, click on add. That must be added to list. That means actually that is simple point. Generally what we do is we will write a function add click. On add click, what we have to do, var city document dot get element by ID txt city dot value. What city name they entered. And we have to cities dot push, add that city. After that, load cities. Cities will load. That means the new list will be loaded. And after that, document get element by ID txt city dot value is empty. That means we are not having any value into that, right? Cleaning up the values. Now you see here, I am adding here new one. Suppose just clean up existing here. That means I will keep only 2 cities list by default. Only 2 cities are by default. I am clicking here. I am writing another one, Hyderabad, and add. that is added. Oh, add button click not written. For this button on click. On click is what? Add click. Okay. Now I am entering Hyderabad and add, that is added. That means we are adding the new city and we are displaying Mumbai and add, that is added. You click sort ascending, sort descending, it will work. Adding the items, not only adding, removing, updating, deleting, so many works we have to do. But for that, we need good data. Once later we will design complex data, then we can work with that. This is a simple example of handling the elements dynamically, right? This is all important about the concept of basic array. This is a primitive type, how to create array, how to add elements into array, how to remove the elements, right? Now, once we do this, after that, what we need to do, we have to understand how do we work with another option, that is object type. Till now, you have seen an array type. Next, we have to see an object type. That we'll see in the next session, how to deal with object type. Okay, now? Right. And next session, one problem is I am going out of station for a few days. Right. So that is the reason we cannot have session for a few days. So up to 31st, I will not be available. That means Wednesday. Thursday onwards, I will be available again. Right. So, and again, when we are back, I will conduct Sunday sessions and we will cover this gap, right? We will not extend due to that. If you are planning, suppose if you want to plan to go to your home and come back, then next week entire we will take off. If anybody wants that, right? Then next Monday we will start. Anyhow, so 31st on the classroom, I will post. You can check that. Okay, na? Right. So next, because it is pre-scheduled, planned for me right. And I can't escape going there. That's the reason it's compulsory. So when I am back, I will conduct Sunday sessions also. And we will conduct more time and we will cover this gap. Due to that, it will not extend. Okay, na? So next session, I will announce in the classroom. Just check the classroom and come. Okay, na? Right.